Hello fans and friends across the universe, welcome to my YouTube channel From Me to You. My name's Keir Smith. New is 10 years old. Yes folks, this Paul McCartney album is celebrating its 10th anniversary today, released 10 years ago on the 11th of October 2013. I remember booking the day off work, so keen was I to hear this album as soon as I could, and I went into Nottingham City Centre to a shop called FOP that has since been closed down and bought this copy. I'm always excited about the release of any Paul McCartney album, but particularly this one because we'd been waiting for some time. This was Paul's first album of all new materials since the excellent Fireman project back in 2008, the Electric Arguments album. And things had changed in Paul's life since the release of the aforementioned album. This was a new decade for Paul. Paul was now in his 70s, he'd fallen in love again and remarried. And so, New seemed to be a fitting title for this new album. There's 12 tracks on the new album, so I'll go through each one now and tell you what I like, what I don't like so much, and for sure I'll highlight the great ones. So the first track is Save Us, and this jumps out of the speakers. This is good, energetic, fast, power rock pop stuff. It's got a good descending riff. I like the drums a lot. Paul crams the many lyrics in here well, and a good rousing chorus too. Yeah, I like this one immediately, and I still do. And I remember thinking at the time it was a fresh sound for Paul, new if you will, a strong start. Second track is Alligator, and I can remember being immediately drawn to that whistle and the bouncy rhythm at the start of the track. The tempo of the acoustic guitars is great, and I love that chord change when it goes into the everybody else is busy doing better than me part. Oh, and then that lovely change of pace, that twinkling atmospheric part when Paul sings in that hushed vocal, could you be that person for me? Beautiful. And the lyrics to this song are fantastic. I need someone who can bail me when I get up to my tricks. I need someone who's used to dealing with a sinner whenever I get in a fix. The guitar breaks are really cool, and in particular, I like that spiky guitar riff at the end of the song. Make no mistake about it, Alligator is brilliant. It's my favourite song on the album, and not only is it my favourite song on the album, I would put it in the top 3 songs by Paul of the last 25 years. Oh, it's that good. On My Way to Work is next, and this plods along happily. A nice acoustic guitar rhythm with some subtle but neat guitar parts throughout. And that loud sitar-like break that you hear is actually played on something called a cigar box guitar. And Paul reminisces happily in the lyrics about what he got up to on his way to work. It's a pleasant, if unspectacular song, but I like it, I always enjoy it. Up next is Queenie Eye, which is a fantastic pop single. I loved it then, I love it now. It's a great glam rock stomper. Paul pounds away on the piano. It's got a great tempo, this song. I love the drums, and it's one of Paul's best choruses for years. Well, since ever present past at least. But yeah, I love Queenie Eye. It's rousing, it's anthemic, it's great to sing along to, and Paul's vocal, superb. He sounds great. Early Days is next, and this is a lovely acoustic guitar arrangement, and Paul looks back wistfully at his early days, in particular with a certain John Lennon. And I really like the chorus. They can't take it from me if they try. I lived through those early days. And I rather like the fact that Paul was kind of defending himself there, because it's worth remembering that Paul lived through it all with John Lennon, with the Beatles, and he saw it all, lived it, breathed it firsthand. And I'm sure that Paul has bent the odd story here and there to suit his own narrative, but name a person on planet Earth that doesn't do that. Anyway, that aside, Early Days is a nice acoustic ballad. I like it. But I must say, when I first heard Early Days, I thought to myself, oh gosh, his voice has changed, it's cracked, because there it was, bare with the acoustic guitar, and it was noticeably different. Up next is the title track, and this was the lead-off single for the album, and Beatlesque, no doubt about it, sitting somewhere between Your Mother Should Know and Penny Lane. It's got harpsichord, mellotron, lovely backing vocals, and Paul indulges in a little bit of whimsy here. You came along and made my life a song. One lucky day you came along. And I was thrilled when I heard this. Before the album's release, of course, I thought, what a great, catchy, happy McCartney melody. So the title track closes side 1 if you're listening on vinyl, and side 2 opens with the song Appreciate, which is a beats oriented song and a collage of sounds that hangs on a slinky rhythm, and Paul's low vocal warns us of potential pitfalls. Lift up your head and remember what your life is. Don't have to give it all away. And another good lyric is, there's something there, but you're frightened to invite it. Beware of pushing it away. And I love the way that the chorus stomps in, and those elongated, haunted vocals, and the sound and that guitar solo at the end is so cool. Appreciate is a great song. Possibly the second best song on the album, behind Alligator. Everybody Out There is next, and when I first got the album, this was a big favourite for me. It's super catchy, I love the guitar playing, great chorus, and I love that chord change when it goes into There But For the Grace of God, Go You and I. And I was always a little surprised that this song in particular wasn't played live, because it cries out for audience participation. I saw Paul in Birmingham, England in 2015, and he played New, Queenie Eye and Savers, but not this one sadly. But yeah, Everybody Out There, super catchy, I always enjoy it, very good. Up next is Hosanna, and I remember reading about this before the album was released, and this one was getting talked up a bit. And it's a soft and gentle, acoustic, prayer-like song. Paul sings in this hushed vocal, but if I'm completely honest, I'm rather bored by it, and it's rare I would say that about a Paul McCartney song. For me, it comes and goes and is of little consequence, and I would put it down as my least favourite song on the album. But then we get I Can Bet, which is positively brimming with confidence, swagger and style. This is a funky and super cool groove, and again, I really like the lyrics to this one. Listen to me, we can give it a try. I'll look you straight in the eye and pull you to me. What I'm going to do next, I'll leave entirely to your imagination. Sexy. It's got the Moog solo. I really like those loud breaks where it goes dun, 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 and then it swings back into the chorus. Delicious. And if I half paused when I said that Appreciate was my second favourite song on the album, it's only because I knew that I Can Bet was coming, and it's a close call between the two, but I think I Can Bet just edges it. Looking at Her is next, and this is nice enough. It's a mellow tune with some subtle but neat lead guitar lines. And then as Paul sings Me, I'm Losing My Mind, this loud synth bleeping noise comes in, which gives the song a rather odd but interesting twist. Looking at Her is a decent song, nothing more. And lastly, we have the intriguing song that is Road. And it's intriguing because it threatens to, but it never takes off. That atmospheric and eerie opening is so good, and the quietude of Paul's vocal and the lyrics only add to the suspense of it. Paul sings of two crazy partners scrambling in the dark. And I love those lyrics in the chorus. I can't see any more the blinding light. It's just a metaphor I use when things aren't going right. And you hear that dissonant piano part, and it sounds like the story of the song is about to unravel, but no, then it goes back into the mellow groove of the verse. It's a good song, but it certainly leaves you wanting more, and perhaps that was Paul's idea with it. And that concludes the new album. I was really pleased with it back in 2013, and listening to it again today, I'm still really pleased with it. I think it's a really strong album. 8.5 out of 10. And I remember reading a review for this album when it came out, and I always remember this one review with this particular metaphor that said, new is the sound of an old dog doing new tricks. And while I wouldn't have quite put it like that, I agree. This is Paul polishing things up and giving a contemporary edge to his new songs. Of course, he worked with 4 producers, Ethan Johns, Paul Epworth, Mark Ronson and Giles Martin. And I think that New pushes against the conception of what a Paul McCartney record is supposed to sound like. And New is another Paul McCartney album that sold and charted well, #3 in the UK and #3 in the US. And it deserved to do well. It's an interesting album, lots of different styles, McCartney, eclectic as always, and as always, really good songs. But please let me know what you think in the comments section below. What do you think of the New album? What are your favourite songs from the album? As always, thank you so much to everyone who watched this video. Peace and love. See you next time.